Hello, one and all. This is Step Ahead with Ernie Rivera. I am your host, Ernie Rivera, and it is very awesome to be here with you today. I've been thinking about this idea for this video for a while now. It's about, it goes back to Shawshank Redemption, which is an excellent movie if you've never seen it. And it's all about this man, Andy Dufresne. And Andy Dufresne, he is put in a federal penitentiary for the murder of his wife. There are spoilers ahead, so look out. That is not a spoiler. They tell you that in the first couple seconds of the movie, so don't worry about that. But he ends up in this prison, and he is systematically robbed of his humanity, and that is something that he fights tooth and nail. They keep trying to dehumanize him, but he keeps trying to keep his humanity intact. And that's what today's episode is all about. We're going to be talking about prisons, shackles, the ones we put ourselves in, and why. Now, let's start off with this quote from Voltaire if we can. Voltaire said something along the lines of, "It is difficult to free a fool from shackles he reveres." It is difficult to free a fool from shackles he reveres. Now, I'm not calling any of you out there a fool, and I'm not calling myself a fool. It's not like that. But we put out these self-imposed prisons on ourselves. We keep wondering why we don't get ahead in life. And I mean, there are a lot of reasons for that. I mean, sometimes it seems like we're fighting and we're trying so hard to get ahead with little results. And why is that? Is it possible that we're not doing something that we should be doing? And why aren't we doing that thing we should be doing? Is it because our current circumstance is too comfortable? And when I say comfortable, I mean maybe it's extremely painful, but it's what we know. It's all we know. So it's scary to get out of that. I'm going to give you another quote from the Shawshank Redemptions real quick if I can. This one is from Morgan Freeman's character Red, and I'm going to have to look down for it for a second because I want to do it right, so hold on a second. So Morgan Freeman's character Red, he talks about Andy Dufresne, and he talks about the walls of Shawshank, and some of these people have been in there for decades, and they, you know, obviously it doesn't seem like anyone's going to like the idea of being in prison, but here's the quote for you if I can. Talking about the prison walls, he says, "First you hate them, then you get used to them. Enough time passes, gets so you depend on them." You know, it's wild stuff. But yeah, at first you hate them, and then you get used to them. And enough time passes, you start to depend on these walls. A lot of these characters in Shawshank, you know, they went in there, and whether they were guilty or innocent, whether they belonged behind bars or not, they all find themselves behind bars. And when a time comes for their release, the movie shows people do not deal with it well. They don't know how to be free after that. And likewise, we mess up our own lives, and sometimes our lives are messed up for us, and it's very unfortunate. But the fact is, we can get out, but it's difficult because we have to make these decisions, and we have to start moving to some uncomfortable, unfamiliar places. Now, if we can go back to the Shawshank Redemption, I'm going to show you how this all connects to our own lives. But major spoilers ahead, so if you don't want any spoilers for this movie, I do recommend you change the channel. But I hope you don't, because I hope you stay tuned for this. But okay, major spoilers ahead. Here we go. Andy Dufresne, he faces horrible dehumanization inside the walls of Shawshank Prison. Terrible things happen to him, as you can imagine, behind the walls of a federal penitentiary. But because he refuses to let them take his humanity, he creates, I should say, he's not given, he creates opportunities for himself inside these walls, opportunities to advance in order to get stature and favor with the guards and the warden himself. The whole time this is happening, Andy Dufresne, knowing he is innocent of this crime, he is burrowing a small hole outside the prison walls. Now, many years have passed, and new evidence comes about that Andy Dufresne may be innocent indeed. So he takes that to the warden, and the warden at this time has become his good friend. But what happens is he's actually made himself, Andy Dufresne has made himself so valuable inside the walls of Shawshank Prison, they refuse to let him go. He knows too much. So the warden gets rid of the evidence, and he throws him back. I think he throws him in the hole, and then he throws him back to his cell. And he does everything he can in order to keep an innocent man in jail because he knows about your guilt now. Let that sink in. He is throwing an innocent man in jail because because the innocent man knows about his guilt. So Andy Dufresne continues to dig this tunnel that we don't know or see about until the end of the movie. So like I said, major spoilers ahead. If you're still with me, I don't feel sorry for you because I told you major spoilers ahead. So here we are. He digs his hole to freedom, and Morgan Freeman does a speech about this, that basically on a stormy night he burrowed through solid metal with only rocks and a little metal chisel I think he had to get through these pipes, and he crawled through the sewage line into a body of water that was outside the prison. And Morgan Freeman's Red character says something along the lines of, Andy Dufresne crawled across miles and miles of disgustingness, the likes of which I can't even imagine. I don't know the exact line, but it's something like that. But yeah, he's doing all this because he's doing the most uncomfortable thing he can do. He's literally crawling through sewage in order to get to a better place. And sometimes that's what we need to do. And it's not just about, you can't just will it all the time. We need to be willing to think differently. If nothing we've done in our lives is bearing any results, then maybe more hard work isn't the answer. Maybe we're thinking about it wrong, and maybe we need to put in hard work into thinking about different types of solutions to get us out of our problems. Now, here's a quote by Malcolm X that I really appreciate, and I think it fits the vibe of today's episode, and it fits the message of Shawshank Redemption. And the quote goes something like this: that no one can give you freedom. No one can give you equality or justice or none of that. If you are a man, you take it. Let's repeat that one more time. I think we need to hear it. No one can give you freedom. No one can give you equality or justice or none of that. If you are a man, you take it. You find a way. Now, I'm not encouraging you to go out there and harm anyone else, but what I am encouraging you to do is to do the work every day consistently, to be willing to not just plow fields with your body, but think of new ways to do the work with your mind, to not just plow the fields, but think of new inventions to help you do it with more ease, to get ahead much quicker than you would have been previously. We do have just a little bit more to go, but at this time I would like to ask you to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you haven't yet, as it helps me build my channel, and I thank you greatly from the bottom of my heart for that, so thank you very much. Now, Andy Dufresne went through one of the worst types of hell imaginable on this planet. As many of us are going through our own personal hells, we can relate to this character. But what he never allowed to happen is he never allowed the system, whatever system that may be, to rob him of his humanity. He held on to it. He held strong. He stayed the good person in his heart that he knew he was. And each day he worked just a little bit further, till over the course of 20 years, he was able to dig free and reach his salvation. Finally, Andy Dufresne got to rest the rest of his days in a wonderful place of his own making in Zihuatanejo, Mexico, where he just lived the rest of his life in peace. And that's quite amazing. He reached his salvation. It took him 20 years of constant work, but he got there. And I'm asking you all today, if you haven't been able to do this, try to think of some other ways. Why aren't you getting where you want to get? Do you need it badly enough? Is that the case? And if you do need it badly enough, maybe you just aren't thinking about the problem from the right point of view. If you can think about it from other points of view, maybe you can find new solutions that you wouldn't have been able to previously. One last thing I want to share with you guys before you leave, just a quick quote, and I think it ties up this episode nicely. I forget who says this quote, but it goes something along the lines of this. We change when the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the pain of changing. Because either way, you're going to face pain. You're going to face pain whether you stay the same. You're going to face pain whether you're working to change. But we change when the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the pain of changing. And sometimes that's what we need. We need to feel that pain of the life we don't want. We need to feel it so greatly that we're willing to do anything to get out. And that is my message to you today. Do the work each day. Get out of the situation. We can do it. Take care one and all, friends and family. This has been a great episode of Step Ahead with Ernie Rivera. I have been your host, Ernie Rivera. I hope you have a great, wonderful day. Take care. Bye.